Here's how you find out if your church is the true church. A great litmus test would be to go back to the Reformation where they believed in the five solas. And what are they? Sola Scriptura is the belief that the Bible is the supreme and infallible authority. We're not saying that there's no other authority, but the Bible is the only infallible authority. So, in plain terms, if your church has any extra biblical authority to derive doctrine from, there's a problem. You should be able to exegetically derive all doctrine from the Bible alone, without any supplementation from any extra biblical sources like visions or dreams. Now, if your church has any extra biblical source in the making of its doctrines, there's a serious problem, and you should seriously consider quitting your church. Sola Fide is the belief that we are saved by faith alone, but works is a result of that faith. So if your church teaches you that you have to do something to obtain salvation, that's a false church, according to the Bible. Speaking in tongues is a sign of salvation. Or if your church tells you you've got to pray 100 times a day in order to be saved, that's a false church, people, because you are saved by faith alone. Sola Gratia builds on the belief of Sola Fide, which means grace alone, which means you can't contribute anything to your salvation. So any church that teaches you that somehow you choose God or you do something for God and you're saved, it is a false church. Remember, God gives you the gift of salvation and the faith to believe in Him. Everything is a direct gift from God. Solus Christus is the belief that Christ alone is enough for our salvation. Christ has completed the atonement for our salvation. So there's nothing we should do in order to be saved. It puts everything on Christ. So if your church teaches you that you have to do something for your atonement, or that Christ's work of atonement is not yet completed, that is a false church. Stay away from it. And Soli Deo Gloria, which literally means everything is for the glory of God. The plan of salvation, from its beginning to the end, is all for God's glory. Here, humans don't get any credit. It's all for God's glory alone. So if your church gives glory for someone other than God, to yourself, to a certain prophet, or another authority figure, your church is a false church, my friend. And if your church believes these things, it's the true church. But if it's not, it's high time that you left your church. God bless.